one day he was going down to their lower ranch, and he goes, there was this bear, and it was just a weird bear, and it attacked him, and he climbed a tree and fought it off with his buck knife.
Wow.
They did catch the bear later, and they had to euthanize it since it had attacked a person.
Oh my
But
gosh, wow.
it was, yeah.
Wow.
I said most animals are pretty friendly and leave you alone, but there's always going to be a weird one that doesn't do the normal thing, and that's where you have to be careful.
We're live.
Awesome.
Just putting your comments that.
Thanks, Jake. You want to do that turn then?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So have you guys ever been to Matvivka? Have you ever been to Matvivka in Ukraine? Matvivka? I think it's like south.
It's like a little town
of
of
Zaporozhye.
No.
Have you ever been there? You been to Zaporozhye?
No. I mean, we passed through with the car.
You guys will stop there on vacation and stuff?
We were poor students who like worked hard.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have time for vacations.
Do you get the same animals and stuff there? I was just curious, like in the mountains, the mountain lions and bears.
No.
And,
Bears, yes. Wolves,
Yeah.
foxes, like
Hares, like the
rabbits, squirrels.
That's
a
more
little bit
rural
of
there.
very little.
Moose.
But your whole Ukraine is just like all covered in forests and lakes. It's pretty much like very much like Minnesota or Canada.
oh, gorgeous.
It's very, very pretty. Also mosquito.
Minnesota? No, the other.
Yeah.
Montana.
Minnesota also.
Oh, okay. Because Montana looked like Ukraine.
Does it?
When, you know, closer
It's
to,
really pretty.
closer to
Yeah.
up north.
Oh.
You guys ever
Ukraine
miss
is also
Ukraine?
much colder.
You guys ever miss Ukraine?
Well, when you say
Not yet, not now. Yeah, it's been a long
Oh
time.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, but we were missing it. Really.
I mean, I miss my childhood, I miss my grandparents, you know,
Yeah.
spending time with them,
Yeah, it would
going
be
to the
hard.
rivers, to the forest, I miss that.
Everything is destroyed now. Like my school
Everything's
is
gone.
like wiped out.
Really?
Oh, that would be so hard.
Actually,
So like even if we go there, we wouldn't recognize anything. Like,
Wow.
I mean, like even back in 2007, because before that, last time I was there was 2012, and then before that, 2008. So like pretty big like gaps, and with these gaps, even going back in 2012, I kind of felt like a tourist. But in 2017, when my dad took me, he had a boat. We went to the same river where I used to fish a lot with my grandpa. And it's kind of funny because like the sounds and smells, everything is the same. And
Yeah.
if you close your eyes, everything like feels the same. If you open your eyes, and it's just different. Like the landscape, everything changes moves with time. So it's so cool. And yeah.
Especially right now, a lot of those areas are just going to take so long to recover. It's just, I hate destruction. It's just,
it's dangerous to go into the forest.
Oh yeah, because Russians spread the mines, they just like mine the entire area, so you
You can lose your life or just leg.
Why is it dangerous to go to the forest?
Because Russians spread the
Where are you
mines
from?
with rockets, it's like,
Explosives.
so it's like forest, somewhere, and everything's just like these little
I raised
things that,
South
you
Jordan.
know, like
Okay.
the version
but
just
you've
come
been to
out.
Ukraine since
No,
you
I've seen
no,
that.
I've never been.
Yeah, so it's
But my
like
parents went to
Yeah, I still
Ukraine,
have, so most of
twice
them,
to handle the adoption.
on my dad's side,
process.
most of the family is out, but my mom's side,
Yeah.
they live in the
But we did a
countryside,
lot of
and most of them pretty much
fundraisers
stay
and
there,
things to
they didn't
raise
go
the money,
anywhere.
and
So they still need to
big
attend
community
fields, there are farms,
farmers.
you know, they're farmers.
The community in
And-
Eagle Mountain.
Yeah, like sometimes just equipment blows up,
Contributed a lot
or
there,
somebody dies, or
They
animals
donated a bunch of
die,
stuff that
just,
they would use for a yard sale or giving the DI or something. And
so it's,
then we had a big
and I
community,
remember my father
yard sale at
told me stories
at
when
Rockwell, the charter
when he
school
was a
there.
child,
And he had a big commons area.
World War II like ended like
20
10
tables
years
out
before he was
stuff
born.
that they all donated.
So we still
I think
had
we
like
donated
kids,
things to auction
sometimes
off,
occasionally like blew themselves up in the forest because
and
so
I
much
showed
like
my art
unexploded
door to
munitions
door,
left
like,
behind.
Ah.
So yeah, it's not going to be safe
some
for a long while
portraits of,
after this is over.
or selling prints of also helped me get on my mission too. We sold prints to help me raise money for that. But it was an amazing experience raising money to adopt them.
So where'd you end up going on your mission?
Mexico City.
Okay.
Yeah, and my parents are just about to head out to the mission right next to me in Mexico
Oh,
City.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Sadly, their mission president was the one that got shot. Did you hear about
I
that?
heard about
Yeah,
that.
it's
How's
their
he
mission
doing?
president. As far as I know from the article I read, he's expected to make a full recovery,
Oh,
but it went through his abdomen and out by his hip,
Oh,
and yet
gosh.
it miraculously missed all
All
his
the vital
vital organs.
organs. Wow.
Amazing, and he shot at twice, point blank.
Twice? Wow.
Yeah,
And they don't know why, or was it just being
it
robbed?
was an
or-
attempted robbery. Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't know if the guy got caught or not or what, but man.
Did you hear about the other missionary that got like smashed with a? I think he was mowing the grass, and I think he was on a hill and fell, and the mower fell on him and he died.
Oh,
That was just like 2 days ago, I think. Yeah, I heard on the
Let's
news.
talk about something
Oh,
bright and
sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know, this is really sad.
so
This is really
depressing.
sad.
I'm sorry, I just figured
Like
it was
people die all
missionary.
over the place. It's
Oh,
like,
no.
this is the world is such a
No.
horrible place.
Nothing good. You're right, sorry.
He's very correct, very correct. Anyway, yeah, so they're about to head out. My parents are about to head out for their mission, and so they're excited. I was a little nervous after that happened,
Yeah.
and they've heard about experiences that I had on my mission, and so they're like,
So what was yours?
well, let's not bring it up right now, you know.
Okay.
We're just you know, talking about lightening the mood. So,
I was gonna say my young,
I had mostly really great
Okay, good to hear.
experiences.
I was gonna say mine was exciting. My young one was in Washington State.
Oh, what's up? Oh, they're here. We help them bring in the
My
bucket.
sister's was in Finland. Hers was a much
And you
harder
can
one
actually
than mine.
leave that, wait, you can open that door right there and leave it open, and then it'll be easier to get in.
My
Sorry,
senior
Finland?
mission was harder than my younger one, though. We did a live-at-home mission. They called us to do it, and we covered like 10 states, and we taught all the new member lessons. And
Wow.
at the time, Orem was the top one in the nation. We kind of
Wow.
competed with Provo a bit, but
Top one meaning,
baptizing, so there was a
Wow.
lot. We were busy, but it was hard because at the time my mom was still alive and had dementia. We were caring for my mom,
oh my goodness, wow.
plus helping with grandkids. My
That's
husband's mom
amazing.
died that year,
Oh my
so it
goodness.
was a good year, but boy, we were tired.
That's hard, yeah.
I was
Wow.
like, we were way busier than our younger ones.
Wow.
Maybe it's just because
That's
we're old too,
amazing.
who knows?
No, that's a lot though, that's a lot. Okay, so it seems like they're here, and so we'll get started in just a moment. And then we just got to get a few more colors out. I'm going to have you, once we get the plates, we are going to, the palette plates, we're going to pass around the different colors. I think we're going to be doing more mixing though, so I think what we'll do is probably focus on the primary colors, white and brown, and then we'll do most of our mixing. Especially because online and for the recording, when people go in, you know, after this has been, after this is done, they might not have the exact colors. So if they have the primary colors, they'll be able to do this painting. Hello.
How's it going?
Great.
How are
How are you guys? Awesome. Let's get the, yeah, you can just set this wherever here, and then we'll open it up and get stuff passed out.
Thank you for your patience, y'all.
Yes, thanks everyone, and thank you guys for bringing the stuff. Of course. Yeah, thank you guys so much. So, yeah. Can you just make double check that they're in good shape, whatever ones you're giving, since those are not wrapped? We'll just make sure.
I'm gonna give you a different one.
Make sure that everyone has good ones.
Oh.
I don't like that one.
Why? Oh, I can see it here.
And then we have these kids. If you
Perfect.
feel like you need.
Oh, give her
It's
that
gonna
one.
probably shut the fruit, but it's gonna tell me soon.
Welcome to Paint Night. So we got the trim on. The shorts, it's on the fun.
So I'm wondering.
I'm not sure what
Sounds?
Oh,
I didn't even.
Yes.
It does, what does that connect to?
That's connected here, so it should.
You should play through the audio.
Yeah, it should work.
Sweet.
Once
I don't know anything. I can ask Davis if he likes.
Well, what you can do is let's just see if
I can figure it out. Here. Who?
What's being the green?
Okay.
Hey, is the sound working? Are you
Yep,
able
the
to
sound.
hear me?
Caleb, just pull up on your phone. I'll put it on my phone.
Will you pull it up and just see?
There, I have it open already.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah, I'll figure out the tech thing. Just go ahead and teach Paint Night. Any longer, we'll have to go. Just kidding. Okay. Here's some paintbrushes.
All right.
Go paint something.
No, we're good. I already passed out brushes, but
Okay,
yeah.
never mind.
You're welcome to use any of those.
Don't paint those.
No, you can just keep those out. You know, people want any more.
So this is perfectly out of my shot. Okay, do you want to start?
Yeah. Let's get.
Yeah, I have no idea what I'm doing. So
Yeah,
like,
Sorry, I just was trying to just my
just go on
Yeah,
the
we did.
Yeah. Last time when we painted it was like 2-3 years ago. So we just enjoy the process. It's like a mess.
Hey, is anybody able to confirm that people are able to hear? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Just so you know, everybody online.
Here's 5 watching.
Sweet, awesome. And everybody online, first of all, thank you so much for your patience. We'll get started in just a moment. There is like maybe a 15 or 20-second delay on the live stream, I believe. But if you want to chat if you want to send any questions that you have through the chat, that would be awesome. Jake, are you good to keep an eye on the chat?
I'll do that.
Okay, cool. So we're going to get these out for you. Of course, you're welcome to paint without it if you'd like, but if you would like to.
Yeah, I think it's going to be
Yeah, it's better.
nicer.
Does everyone want an easel back there? I'm guessing? Yep.
Yeah, we want you.
Okay. No.
Thank you.
I was actually here like 2 hours early, which is a big deal for
So
me
now you
because
show up. Now you show
I
up.
am not early to things. I mean, I'm going to be late to my own funeral. I swear, I know it. So, struggle with that. So, I was here 2 hours early, and then all of a sudden it was like time went by really fast, and then I forgot to tell Jake to get the bucket that had this stuff, the canvases and the easels and whatnot. So, because he went back home to grab supplies. I knew that. We still need 2 more easels. See, I can't like think and talk at the same time. Like, I don't know how people multitask. Okay. You're so welcome. If you will all just make sure that the easels are, just a second. Okay. Everybody, if you can just make sure that with your easels, the back leg is stretched out straight and as far as it can go, and then just that the knob is tightened so that it doesn't. Oh, that's. And it's tilted a little.
You should come earlier.
the mic or something on my shirt or apron or anything weird, or if you can't hear, please let us know. Okay. And don't worry, you do not have to whisper. You can totally talk. You know, be yourself. Definitely. And we'll have, you know, I'm sure you'll have questions and stuff. So don't just pretend like the cameras aren't there, you know?
Also, this is being recorded and streamed live. So
So,
if you don't want to be on
so
it,
no
too late.
pressure.
No pressure. Don't say anything offensive or political.
Oh, we should put in the disclaimer forms.
Yeah, we should have handed those out. I thought about it.
Okay, so we are going to be using basic colors, the primaries, red, yellow, blue. Oh, stand back, I'm standing back. And standing on wires. This is awesome.
I think we need to.
So we're going to focus on the primary colors, red, yellow, blue, and then we will be using white and brown. Additional colors that will be useful are possibly black, different greens, and tan, you know, but these are all colors that we can mix with our primaries. So honestly, we could do the whole thing with just the primaries and white. So I just need to grab a plate. You guys got plates back there? Okay. So if you will pass around this yellow, please. Just take, I would say, a nickel or quarter size, roughly. And as far as brushes go, for people online, you'll want basically, you know, it might be nice to have a larger brush like this. If you don't have it, that's okay, no worries. But mainly we'll be using like 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch brushes, and usually it'll be flat brushes. Although having round brushes could definitely be helpful at times. Alright, if you'll get this red passed around, that'd be awesome. Make sure you're getting those two. Alright, so everyone, you can access the photo reference that we're going to be using today by going to paintwithcaleb.com, and you should see it there on the event. Just there on the homepage. You can click on that event, and then it will allow you to it will take you kind of to the event page. From there, you can just press and hold the image and save it to your camera roll. If that, I was going to say if you want to. Of course, you're totally free to do it without the reference, but I find it to be very useful, very helpful to have. Okay, awesome. So. We're just about there. I just forgot to give myself the color. Oh, we need it? Oh, oh, and brown. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess I was like stone. start with the things that are farthest away from us. So the sky and the clouds. So we're going to start off with blue and white, creating a light blue sky. Oh yeah. It's probably cloudy.
Oh, how do you do that?
Push on the picture. Oh.
Probably just hit the photos, really.
Okay, now it should just stay. If not, I'm just doing this, 'cause I don't know what I'm doing half the time.
I'm looking at it and
No, this looks too intimidating.
Yes.
It's been a while since we-
so intimidating.
we started in
Well, what I noticed, I've only gone to 2 classes, that is, everybody's look a little bit different, but they all look good. Makes it feel more original when you're not exactly the same.
There we go. Okay. Watch this. I probably need 50 more. I have no idea that was there.
Well, that's mine. I have to put it somewhere. Okay, I can do this. Go ahead and do a paint.
Okay, but I need these colors.
I was just twisting this.
I still need to get some.
We're having a paint difficulty. So sorry, everybody.
I thought that technical difficulties was the only thing we were gonna maybe run into, but apparently paint distribution problems. Because this thing does not want to come out.
Do you want to try scope that?
Yes, will you please bring the color to me?
Yes, I will. Go
You
ahead
guys
and
are nice, yeah, but really
Okay.
bad. I always make such a mess.
Well, we'll
Not
see,
to,
we'll
but
see.
my hands, in fact, I forgot to take my ring off, I was gonna say, I always end up with paint everywhere.
So I now officially have the colors that I don't need to paint with right now. So we are almost to the blue and white.
It's a ranch.
Basically what we're going to do is we're going to create a sky blue, which obviously could be many different things. Skies look darker or lighter depending on the day, where you're at, all of that kind of stuff, the atmosphere. So it's not like it has to be anything exact, but what we're going to go for is something that is, here we go. Now, are you able to get the camera to where it's here, but also we're able to see kind of what's going on with the mixing?
Yes. You can either have the paint or your face.
No, the paint.
Okay. Then yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
And you can't have both.
I guess the idea was we're there, to see everyone and stuff.
I can still do that. You
Okay.
can't see people. I'm doing that. I'm doing both.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get my
But the best thing is just pick it up and show the camera.
Okay.
If you can just get closer and say, this is what we're doing, and then keep talking.
Sounds good. Will you?
No.
Would you mind pulling up the live stream so I can on the phone?
Sure.
Cool. Thanks. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use the largest brush you have, and I'm gonna take some white. I'm sorry. I'm gonna dip the brush in a little bit of water, just kind of loosen up the bristles, and everything, I'm going to set a chunk of white off to the side. It can still stay close, you know, and then I'm just going to get a tiny bit of blue, because the blue is going to change that white color really fast, and just with the tiniest bit, it's going to turn very, very blue. So just go ahead and put a tiny bit in, and you want to get kind of a baby blue. You guys get what I'm talking about with the baby blue, like a very pale color, kind of like the color here on this. And I'll show you the camera in just a second. Okay. So I'm going to go with something kind of like that. And then I'm going to just paint with this color all the way across the entire canvas. Okay, and I'm going to paint the sides of the canvas and the top edges. You don't really need to do the bottom edges, because that will be more of the tan color for the sand and whatnot. But I'm just going to paint across the entire canvas. If the paint is not spreading well and not covering the canvas very well, it just means you need to mix a little bit more water into that paint. But just a bit. You don't want a ton, and you don't want it to be super drippy. And then if you do need an additional plate, then we have some more here. So, yes, we're going to be painting the entire canvas with this color. And just as a reminder, go ahead and paint the sides of your canvas. I like to do this just to give it a nice finished look. And then you don't have messy drips showing on the side of the canvas. Remember, we want it to be quite pale. So if it's not pale like this, then go ahead and add some more white to your paint mixture. It doesn't have to be exactly this color, but we want it to be fairly pale. You don't need to worry about the direction of the brush strokes. In fact, it's actually better if you mix up the brush strokes. Whether you do kind of circular strokes, you kind of scrub the canvas, or you do little X's, crisscrosses, so that you get some interesting texture. Sometimes, oh, I just got a bristle on the canvas. If the brush sheds a little bit, that happens, especially with chip brushes or with new brushes. If that happens, rather than trying to get it off with your finger like this, because you'll rub paint off, you can just pick it up with the brush like this, kind of scoop it off. Okay. Now, while you're doing this, once you're there, you've covered the canvas with this color. Don't be afraid to have variations of color. So if you dip the brush in the paint, you load the brush, and you get something that's like a little bit darker in some areas or a little bit lighter in other areas, like that's totally great, because that adds interest to the painting, it adds some texture, and skies are naturally often like that, where they have variations of color. It helps it not look quite as flat as well. So awesome. Now, Jake, is there any way that you can get an even closer close-up on the canvas? I just want to make sure that people online can really see the painting well. And if you need to even pull that out here, or if you want the desk to move or something, that's fine. Okay. I might even tilt it a little bit like this. Okay. And now we're going to wait. Oh, I need to get this side a little bit more. We're going to wait just a couple minutes for this to dry. Luckily, since it's acrylic paint, it dries very quickly. White, yeah. In fact, I'll leave the colors right here so you guys can grab them as needed.
Perfect.
He didn't tell me that. Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did. I know it. I know it. Don't worry. I got it. I got it. No. I got it. It is. You're gonna be proud. I got this. It's in my brain. Don't text him. Don't text him. I know it.
I need that.
Wait for it. Wait for it. It's the. Well, we're waiting for this to dry, so it'll be just a couple minutes before it dries. Oh.
You're good. I forget the audio. Okay, it's okay. Go away.
Okay.
Go.
Okay. So, to give you all a little background, oh, you have a question?
Start the whole thing, I missed all of it.
Amazing. So, Jake has got the best comments during paint night, just so you know, if you couldn't tell already. So, my favorite is when he, we're about maybe 30 minutes from finishing the paint night, and he goes, "Is it too late for a refund?" I go, "Wow, okay." So we are here at the Hive Collaborative, this amazing, amazing place. It's a audiovisual production studio where they have film crews and theater groups, theater companies come in and use the space. We've got an 86-seat black box theater. We have a big white cyc wall, this green cyc wall that you see behind me. We have podcasting rooms, a bunch of different spaces for filming. And then right now, on the other side, we've got a big film crew. I think it's Candlelight Media that does a lot of like Hallmark movies and stuff. And they're filming right now. And I ran into a friend that I acted with before, and it was really fun to see him. He's acting in the show. So, did you say who? Yeah. Oh, his name's Josh. I acted in A Christmas Carol with him. He played Charles Dickens when my dad played Bob Cratchit back in the day. Yes? Are we almost done? Yes. Yep. See? Great. Okay. Now, as these start to dry, we are going to think about where we are placing the different elements of our painting, and we are going to need to use the chalk to sketch things out. Okay. So let's grab, yep, we're done with the big brush. We won't really need that. So what you can do is maybe just, rinse it out the best you can. We'll probably take a break at the halfway point or so to rinse out our brushes, but what I like to do is try to get most of it out on the paper towel without swooshing it around too much in the water. But if you've already done that and it's too late, sometimes I'm just not quick enough with that line. I totally am like, yeah, it's okay, you guys can wash out your brush, and by then everyone has already done it, yeah, so it's fine if your cup is totally blue and, or your water is totally blue. That's fine. It's fine. Yeah, and if you need more paper towels, there are multiple rolls all over. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay, so this is almost dry. I can still see some shiny parts, so I'm going to try to fan this off, get this to dry a little quicker. It's almost there. And so what we're going to do is we are going to just map out with very basic shapes the elements that we want to incorporate, but we don't need to, we don't need to draw everything out with very precise detail right now. So what I'm going to do is just below the halfway mark on this left side, I'm going to create kind of this cliff or this little mound. And it's going to come out with just some bumps. We want it to be random. We don't want all of these bumps to be even and the same as each other. But essentially, our little hill here is going to have lots of random variations of bumpiness. And then it's going to come down at about the halfway mark or just past it. It's going to swoop down here and have a little area of like more flat sand. You could actually make it slope down before you get to the halfway mark as well, depending on how you want it to look. You could make this look like a hill that's in front of the lighthouse, where it's just kind of a little hill, and the lighthouse is pushed back in the distance. Or you could make this look like a cliff that the lighthouse is sitting on, as like the foundation. Oh yeah, yep. Sorry. Yeah. We are here. We are here.
Looks great. Good job.
Thanks. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, now we are going to just establish where we want this lighthouse. And I would say I might go over a little bit more towards the inside than what I have in this image here. I would probably do something similar, but I just want to make sure that I'm not putting the lighthouse way over here and leaving a ton of negative empty space here. You know what I mean? Is that better? Cool. Yeah, no problem. So this the lighthouse, we just don't want to have it be too far to the left to where we're leaving this whole thing very empty and feeling like the lighthouse is just an afterthought, kind of like, oh, it happened to sneak inside the picture. We want this to be a painting where the lighthouse is more of the star of the show. But we often will use the rule of thirds, which is just a nice way to create a pleasant composition that's natural without putting it smack dab in the middle. So I'm going to just create a straight line. That's definitely not straight, but kind of a straight line, the best you can. And I would say give yourself at least 2 to 3 inches of space from the top of the canvas to the top of the lighthouse. I would say 2 inches is good. You probably don't want to go any smaller than that to where your lighthouse is really, really tall. It just feels cramped in the overall scene if you have it too close to the top. So I would say around 2 inches of space from the top. And this is if you're using an 11 by 14 canvas. If you are using a different size canvas, you'll just have to try to adjust accordingly based on the size of your canvas. But you just want a good amount of space, of negative space. So now I'm going to use this to create basically the base of the lighthouse, of the tower. And I'm going to draw these 2 lines on either side of the line I just did. All right, so that's just kind of the center line to help us get a nice even tower here. And you will want to make these lines taper as they go up. So they will lean in just a touch. It doesn't need to be like crazy like that, but you also don't want it to just be straight up and down. This gives us a sense of perspective, but it's also just a common thing with lighthouses for them to be a little bit thinner at the top. Yes, question?
Well, oh. You're asking if you can explain the difference. And the name is Jacob Saran. So.
Oh.
Could you explain the difference?
This guy. Okay. You want me to explain it different?
The comments do. Yeah.
Oh, the comments
Want you to explain it different.
on the comment that you made?
Yeah.
On the live stream.
Yep.
Wonderful. I would love to explain it differently. I'm not sure exactly what you're hoping for.
Well, I wasn't paying attention, so that's my problem.
Oh my gosh.
Would you mind
Okay.
just re-explaining the whole thing?
Jake.
Make it look cool.
Yeah, just feel the vibes
still wet.
and
I'll just
just
wait.
follow your heart.
Okay, perfect. I will do that.
Now this point where we've got the 2 inches of space, that very top is going to be the very tippy top of the lighthouse. So we will have other stuff going on with our lighthouse, a little bit more detailed. But I'm not going to actually do anything with that yet until we put in clouds and stuff like that, right? This is just to show us where clouds can be, where we can do some really interesting stuff with clouds and not have our tower cover them, things like that, right? It's just helping us get a sense of our composition. And, okay, here we go. Now, I want to clean up some of these lines. I don't have to do a whole lot of work. We're not trying to be overly perfectionistic here, but trying to figure out ways to make this look, this hill, and anything that's part of nature, to make it look organic and natural and not with too many patterns or perfection in any way, which is often surprisingly difficult for people to do because, and we all joke about, when I say, oh, it doesn't have to be perfect, and you're like, oh, it's definitely not perfect, you know what I mean? And I tell people, do not try to achieve perfection. Do not make that your goal, right? We do not want perfection, especially in a landscape. But it's surprising how tricky it can be to avoid patterns, because it seems like often our minds are just prone to be like, oh, I want this to match, or I want this to look symmetrical. But we do not need for this to be symmetrical. All right, so with a little bit of water on a clean brush, you can clean off any lines. I'll clean off these lines just that were used for demonstration. And now I will map out with the chalk a general idea of where I want the clouds to be and the shape that I want them to be. Now you can follow the example here of the clouds. Are you able to see the entire painting in the shot? Awesome. And you can copy the ones I have here, or you can totally make your own. There are just some principles about clouds that you'll want to know. So with clouds, you'll want to make sure that you have highs and lows. And these clouds are like the really fluffy ones, right? You could definitely do more wispy ones that are just kind of left and right and kind of blended out if you'd like. But we're going to try to do some really fluffy ones. So what I'm going to do is think of like bushes. Think like you're just creating a painting of bushes or something. And think about how these bushes are not neatly trimmed. Okay, what we want to avoid is this kind of a cloud. Check this out. This is a no-no. Now, there are no rules in art, but don't do that. Okay, you know, just you're going to end up with a very just chunky-looking cloud. That is, you know, it feels kind of kindergartnerish. No offense towards kindergartners. I love my little kiddos. Got a 5 and 4-year-old and a 18-month-old. But what we're going to do is get these like highs and lows. So let me just demonstrate a little bit, get something on the canvas, and then I'll kind of show you where I'm going.
Vertical wispy things before or after the clouds?
Well, if you would like to incorporate that kind of swoosh, I wasn't planning on doing that like swooshy thing. If you like that, definitely go for that before you paint the clouds. Good question. Yes, so this swoosh that you see online, on the image online, it shows the strokes of the sky going like, you know, swoosh. So if you like that, then what you would do is, I mean, and I like it too. I guess I just wasn't. No, you're fine. You're fine. I actually just didn't really think about it because I did it for that example, for like that part. But other times that I've painted it, I haven't done it. Sometimes I do, you know. So if you did want to incorporate that texture into the sky, what you can do is you take like that sky blue color, but you'll want to make sure that you have a variation of colors. So if you don't mix your color well on the palette, that's a good thing. So you have some blue and white, and you kind of just dab it, and then you can do the swoopy stuff, right? And some of these strokes will be lighter, some will be darker. You know, so if you want to, you can do that. If you're like, nah, I'm okay with just the sky that I have, then just go for it. You know, just keep it the way it is. But I do want you to know that that's how you can do it if you want to. I think it does give some fun movement, but it's definitely not necessary. So, great question. Now with the other clouds, like you notice how I've got part of this where it's like billowing up, but then it comes down and then it billows up again. What's up?
Would you mind not moving the camera?
Sorry. I'm trying to like show the class, but also show the camera. So.
You're good. I usually will definitely.
So, and you don't have to follow the example online exactly if you don't want to. You can totally do your own thing. But just remember that principle where you want highs and lows, and you want for some of these clouds maybe to connect to each other, or one can be off on its own, but you want to avoid doing like, oh, here's a cloud, and then here's the same size cloud that looks exactly the same over here, and then you just end up having kind of polka dot chunks of clouds, right, that are all evenly spread apart from each other. We want a good variety. Now, I feel like here, I've just got a big bump, and then right up here, I've got the same big bump. That's almost like a copy of what I have under here. It's almost like I've stamped it and just put it right here. So what I want to do is I want to move that. And so obviously everyone's painting is different. So don't feel like, you know, like you have to do make the exact same changes that I'm making. You may feel great about the position of your clouds or the shape of them, but I'm just trying to illustrate a principle here that if you have something that looks too much like a copy of the shape of the clouds, nearby, you want to move it, change it, or add something to it, anything you can do to make it not look like a copy or a pattern. Okay, so that is a general principle that applies to clouds, to trees, bushes, grass, mountains, any kind of landscape that's organic, is you want to avoid patterns. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say maybe I'll have some high billowy cloud come over here on the left side, and then it's going to kind of swoop down here, and it's going to swoop down here, and then this one will be higher over here on the bottom and swoop down over here, and maybe it will create a little bit of a kind of asymmetrical balance, if that makes sense, where it's not perfectly the same on each side, it's not a mirror image, but there is some balance to it. Okay, so once you've got those established where you want them, then we'll be able to start painting them. Okay? And you don't have to have them perfect. You might feel like, oh, I really don't know where to put these or how to position them. If you have kind of a general layout, just remember the chalk is not permanent, so we can move things as we go. I'm going to refill on the white paint. Who's got the white paint? Okay, I'm going to grab some. Yeah. Now, does anybody need any guidance or help or feedback on clouds? I think I'll walk around for a minute real fast and see how you guys are feeling with the shape of the clouds. Okay, awesome, awesome. Now, remember that often clouds, these fluffy clouds, will sort of be flatter on the bottom and more billowy on the top. And then as we get to, I forgot the horizon line, so let's put this horizon line in there. I would say let's go about a third of the way up, rule of thirds again, where it's not really a hard, fast rule, but here's that. It's just going about a third of the way up. I might move it down just a touch, perhaps, and straighten it out a little bit, because mine's a little bit lopsided. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we do want to check the angle to know that it's relatively straight across. And remember that we can play with the bushes and trees and things like that are in front of the lighthouse later on, and all of that. But let's establish that horizon line, and then let's start painting the clouds. Okay, so I'm going to start with a smaller brush. You can choose whichever one you want. The two brushes I gave you guys tonight are actually pretty similar in size, so whatever you'd like to do, it's great. Now I'm going to take some white, but rather than doing these clouds in pure white right now, I am going to mix a touch of blue. But remember, our sky, our background is very pale, and so we want to make sure that we are mixing a color that's basically white but just has a hint of blue, just to soften these clouds a little bit and make them not too harsh. Okay, so I've got a very, very pale blue. You can almost hardly tell that there's any blue in it, but it's going to help us out. We need to make sure that it's much lighter than our background. Yes, there is plenty to go around. Yep. Okay. Now, once you've mixed that, try to make sure you don't have like a huge blob of paint on the tip of the brush, but that you have that it's just kind of there sitting in the bristles, right? You can kind of wipe it off on the side of the plate if you need to. Okay. So it's not like a huge, giant blob of paint, but now what I'm going to do is, since this is a flat brush, and we do have some round brushes, which are the pointy brushes, which you're welcome to use, but I do want to teach you how to use these flat brushes for the clouds. So what you do is, instead of using the width of the brush like this and creating lines, you know, instead you can just use the corner of the brush, just one corner of the brush, and then you can get dots, right? And you can get different effects with that. So I don't know if the camera picked that up, but let's see if I can do it again. So if instead of just using the full width of the brush, since doing round shapes can sometimes be difficult, you just use the corner of the brush. And so you have to kind of face it downwards like this, almost parallel to the canvas, or like that, however you want. But rather than going at it like this, perpendicular to the canvas, you can go parallel, and it allows you to get some different effects. So, for example, if you wanted to do dots, then that's how you do it. You can do dots and get round, you know, circular shapes, even with a flat brush. But here's what we're going to do is we are going to work our way around these clouds, especially the outer rim of the clouds, right? But then as we go, I'm going to dip my finger in a little bit of water, and I'm going to blend it, especially on the inside. Do you see how it kind of gets diffused? Kind of gets diffused as we blend it a little bit. Okay. And we want to just make sure that there are highs and lows, lots of variation of shapes here, so that these clouds look fluffy and billowy and not too chunky or like a big solid mass. And then I'm going to work my way over here. It's okay if you cross into your lighthouse lines a little bit, because that will give that sky and the clouds some continuity, so they look like they're flowing behind the lighthouse rather than stopping right before you get to the lighthouse and then scared to touch the lighthouse lines. Instead, you can work your way into those lines. That's just fine. Now, do we have any comments or questions or anything on the chat?
No, I keep commenting myself. That's sad.
Feeling lonely in the chat? Jake? I have to thank everyone for your patience with my funny brother who loves to heckle everything. He's a heckler. He reminds me of the two guys in the Muppets that sit on the side and just heckle everybody, you know? That is totally him, I feel like. Yeah, the two guys. Oh. I don't know. I'm sure they have names, but I don't remember them. Okay, so do you see how I made like the outline of a cloud, but then I put another cloud in front of it down below to kind of make it feel like there are some layers of clouds, where this one is going to look like it's in front of this one that's higher up. Now, again, you'll want to, every once in a while, take some water on your finger and kind of blend it out. So I'm going to take some up here, create some kind of blobby, smudgy marks, and then blend it out a little bit so that it looks diffused, right? So you want for the out, like the rim of the clouds to be more defined, a little bit brighter, lighter, right? Almost kind of like a silver lining. And then on the inside, they're very pale and kind of smudged out.
So does this painting have any color?
It will.
Sweet.
It will have color for sure.
Blue and white. I kind of like a blue and white painting. If it was like all blue and white.
That'd be cool.
Blue and white.
That'd be cool. Yeah. No, I haven't. That would be cool. Yeah, that would be really cool. I have seen people just take one color, like a red or a purple or something, and then instead of doing black and white, they'll do just like a monotone. Oh my goodness, that would be cool. Yeah. Just yeah. Yeah, do like an inverted version or something. Whoa, that would be cool. If you can figure out how to do that, do it. That is your mission. Oh yeah, yeah. I'll give you royalties for the idea. Yeah. To do a what? Oh yes, for how? Oh, okay. So for October Halloween stuff, we are going to be scheduling a couple of black light paint nights with glow in the dark paints and stuff. So be on the lookout for that. That's going to be really fun. And it'll probably be on the stage, which has some really awesome lighting. Okay, so remember we're just trying to get some clouds in there, but keep them from looking too patterny and similar to the ones next to them. We want to try to make sure that there is no cloud that looks the same or too similar to the one next to it. And remember, using that technique of just like smudging with a little bit of water on your finger is really helpful to getting some fluffy, billowy, yet soft clouds that aren't overly harsh. You know, and I feel like I'm putting a lot of clouds in here, which you can totally do if you want, or you can just keep it simple with maybe a few little, clouds here and there. But again, you want to avoid the like chunk of cloud here, chunk of cloud there. Let it be sort of something that just kind of flows through the painting. You can even do flowy, wispy clouds like this that are more just these horizontal swooshes of clouds. But you'll want to keep everything soft by using the water to blend it and move the paint across the canvas. Do I have a what? Did you say K-pop demon hunters? That's a thing? Oh, I'm so sorry. I did not even know anything about K-pop demon hunters. But, I mean, I've heard of demon hunters, I guess, maybe. And I've heard of K-pop, but I didn't know that that was a thing together. Okay, so sometimes I feel like I look so closely at my painting and I kind of just get in the zone and I just keep going. But I do need to step back and analyze my painting a little bit, just evaluate whether these clouds are working. I still feel like I'm almost dealing with a copy of like, here's a cloud and here's a copy of it. Here's a cloud and here's a copy of it. So somehow I still ended up with a copy, but it was totally accidental. So what I need to do is I need to change that up. So check and see with your painting, even though you may think that you're avoiding those patterns and things, you may, if you stand up and look from a distance, or if you squint your eyes and kind of look at it that way, you might find that you actually have some clouds that you want to move. Okay, so I think this is fine for now. I'm going to probably just keep going and evaluate from there, like if I need to add something elsewhere. don't feel like you have to fill up the entire sky. Part of me wants to be like, oh, I need to put a cloud here in the top right corner because it's just blue. But remember, you also want to give the painting some breathing room where it's not just like clouds like yelling at you. Now, once you feel like you are happy with the way your clouds are placed, or relatively happy, you may not feel like thrilled because you're like, let's just go, let's just move on. You can take some pure white paint and emphasize some of the edges of these clouds and make it a bit brighter if you'd like. This kind of gives it the silver lining, but it's up to you if you want to do that or not, because the soft effect of just smudging them out, like blending them out, can look really nice, but it can also look nice having a little bit of a silver lining on some of these as if some light is hitting them. I'll probably have you guys do birds with a white paint pen if you'd like, but you're more than welcome to do them with the brush. Yeah, right? And that'll probably be towards the end. We'll just do those at the end. But if you are like, oh, yeah, I kind of do want to do them now, then here's how you do them. Just like a little boop. And then just make sure that they taper at the ends. But that one's kind of a beefy bird. But, you know, we'll do birds later, so no worries, no worries. You got a tree in yours?
It's called the Lighthouse.
You know, I guess we all interpret things differently, right? So maybe. Okay. Now, if you put a silver lining on some of these, like a white highlight, it will bring them forward. And anything that doesn't have a silver lining will be pushed back in the distance and look like it's farther away, just so you know. Hopefully that's helpful. Okay. All right, I think we're ready to move on, but I want to check and just kind of see how things are going, how you're feeling about the clouds, and if you feel like you need any help with anything. Yes? Okay. That is what we call a happy accident. That is the epitome of happy accident. When you get something like that, you're like, I got to keep it. You got to keep it, right? You don't cover things like that up. If you get a dinosaur in your clouds, then you keep it. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, he's got like a triceratops, I think, right? Is that what you're seeing? Like the head of a triceratops with like the horns and then that's the mouth? Yes. Yeah, that's awesome.
Because I mean, like they play it. That one looks like a button, you know. That one looks like.
Yeah. Are you doing the switching and stuff back and forth?
I'm painting. What are you doing? Yeah, I am.
You are? Okay,
Yeah.
great. This guy. Okay. Now these are looking really good.
It's
One,
terrible.
No. You might have negative feelings now,
Yeah.
but you're really in a great spot. What we want to do is just want to remember that on the top edges we want to have highs and lows, and right now we have it pretty clean, right, and very smooth, kind of all the way around. Even though it has a little bit of variation, you see how we can exaggerate that more, and you can have, yeah. Now let me even show you here with some blue paint on this tablecloth. So what I'm seeing right now is kind of like a shape like that, sort of up top here, right? And then you have something kind of similar here, where you're going to have this horizon line be, right? So really what you're going to kind of see is this, which is, they're both similar to each other.
Yeah.
But what we can do instead is, let's try breaking it up. If you're able to put even some blue back in, you can, or you can just change the shape with white. So imagine that the blue strokes here are white, right? So you would be painting this with white. But in order for you to see it on this tablecloth, I'm doing it with blue. So you're going to want to sort of make an exaggerated, like, ups and downs and very fluffy marks, and be very random with it too, where this can like poke out. You see the difference between that, and then if you can go pretend this white is blue, right? It's just switched, and then you're going to go back in maybe if you want and put some of that back in so that you get that variety of highs and lows.
Smoky.
I'll
Yeah,
try.
kind of smoky. And then as you do that, then you blend in here with a little bit of water on your finger like this, and then you'll kind of get that diffused smoky
Yeah.
look.
It looks easy here, but
Don't worry. The nice thing is that clouds have so many shapes and sizes and looks and everything, right? So, yes, awesome. And then just remember that, yep, some can have a bump over here, but not a bump on the other side, and things like that, right? So you're just making it very, very random. And then as you go, before you go too far, that's when it's good to kind of do some blending if you want, and then you keep going, right? Just because acrylics dry so fast, it's hard to blend when they dry so quickly. Okay, are there any questions about clouds? How are y'all feeling? I didn't see back there. Please let me know in the chat. For all of you painting online, let me know. Nice, these are looking so good. Okay, I am actually pretty jealous of all of these clouds. Like, okay, come on, you guys know you're doing a good job. These look really good. Awesome. Digging it.
You like it?
Yes,
I was half paying attention to what you said.
yes, I'm loving it.
Thank you.
You've got some like dark bluish stuff going on, so that's really
Yes.
cool. That's cool.
'Cause
Yeah.
I don't want to mix it around.
Okay.
I'm not that into this.
Okay. Not that into this. Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, I can't. I can't make you be interested. Excuse me. Sorry. Okay. Oops. I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to throw off anybody's groove. All right. So we are going to move forward. We are going to do the ocean now. Now, sometimes the ocean will look very blue, and other times it will look teal. I don't know if you're familiar with like Utah Lake, but I live in Utah County in Saratoga Springs, and I often will look out and see the lake, and sometimes it looks very teal, and sometimes it looks very blue. It really just depends on maybe the atmosphere, the time of day, the weather, and stuff like that. So. Yeah, sometimes it will look more green, but it really just depends. So I want you to know that you can go with just this blue, just how you have it, right? Just like that, boom. But you can also play around with mixing a bit of yellow to give it a little bit more of a turquoise or teal feel or essence. So you can do something a little bit like that. It's where it's a dark turquoise, or you can add some white to it and check out what it will do if you add a little bit of yellow and white to this dark blue that we have. Of course, people online might have a different blue. Oh, yep. Look at this, kind of a sea green, kind of teal turquoisey color. And, you can get something more like that. I think all of them are really nice and pretty. One thing you'll want to do is, although in the image here online it's just blue, I think I'm going to try to do a little bit of teal and show you what that can look like. I'm going to have it be darker towards the horizon line and lighter as it gets closer to us. So I'm going to take this teal and incorporate that all the way up to the rocks or the sand, whatever we have there. And I am loading the brush with slightly different mix every time I load the brush, just so I get a variety of different colors. And this makes it a little bit easier to give us texture. It just makes it more natural. It just kind of happens. But I'm going to need to make sure that I've got enough water mixed into my paint so that the paint flows and I can get a clean, crisp line up top at the horizon line. Yes, at the top of the horizon line.
Does it have to be like all the way straight, or can we have it like slanted or anything?
I mean, it's okay if it's slanted. We're not going for perfection here, right? But the goal or the you know, the desired result is something that's pretty horizontal, you know, as horizontal as you can get it. And I think we're going for some calm waters here. If you wanted it to feel a little bit more turbulent or wavy, you know, like surfing water kind of thing, you could add a little bit more waviness to it. But, all right, so I've got that teal going on, and you'll see that there are variations where some strokes are a little bit more greenish, yellowish, and then some are more blue. But then overall, we want our water to go darker at the top towards the horizon line. So darker right at the top. And I'm still not trying to mix things perfectly on my plate when before I apply it, so that I get that variety of color, where some of these strokes, or even in the same stroke, you get a few different colors showing. So I'm going to dip the brush in some blue and teal and kind of just let it happen how it happens.
Hey, Kayla,
Yes?
ask Larissa to come spray my hair.
Yeah.
Did she like it?
Yeah, she loved it. Yeah. He's asking about my sister Clarissa. She lives in Pennsylvania now. So hopefully she'll be able to join us now that we're doing live streams regularly. You know, hopefully she'll be able to join us for those. And okay, so I've got that darker at the top, and rather than doing like chunks of like, here's a dark stripe, and then here's a teal stripe, and having two sections, I'm trying to weave that dark blue in with the sea green and have them interacting with each other. And just have them be kind of staggered strokes, not necessarily stripes, right? We're not going for stripes. We're just going for some loose, broken up strokes. And then that can give us some cool texture where we get maybe a little bit of waviness, but nothing like, you know, the classic wave, wave, wave. You know what I mean? So I think that's working pretty well. So like I said, I'm going with something more teal than the example online on the image from the gallery. So you can do whatever you would like. You could even add an additional pale blue or teal or something as you get like a lot closer. You can just play with it and kind of have fun with it. Okay, but maybe try to avoid putting too much pure white there. If you put too much pure white, that's going to look very unnatural. So if you're going to go lighter, don't go pure white on the water. Do like a light teal or a light blue. Okay, now we are going to move forward. Okay, awesome, thank you. Okay, thanks, Jake. I actually really appreciate the time being the timekeeper. Yep. Okay, so now let's go to the lighthouse. And what I'm going to do is I've got to make sure that these lines are tapering, right? The lighthouse is getting thinner as it goes up. But then notice as we get to, I would say for this, since we're doing 11 by 14 canvas, I would say let's make that top of the tower where you have like the kind of wraparound balcony thing, and then you've got the big light. We're going to give that about an inch or inch and a half of space. So that's going to be maybe between here. Everything below that is going to be white and red stripes, and everything above that is going to be light, the lamp itself, and the balcony. So what I'm going to do here is kind of establish that space of about an inch or inch and a half, and really close that off here at the top of the red and white stripes of that tower, and then just barely above that, where we've closed it off, I'm going to create that little balcony that extends past our tower on either side just a little bit, because it's like a balcony that wraps around, so you're going to see it extend past on the left and right sides. Okay. As you go, try to make sure that we are as symmetrical as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we do want to evaluate our lighthouse and where we're going, make sure that it's straight up and down. It doesn't look like the Leaning Tower of Pisa or whatever. And then, we also want to make sure that it is pretty symmetrical as much as possible, because when we're dealing with architecture, symmetry is typically the goal. All right, so then we've got this little wraparound balcony. I'm just throwing in some little lines there, but you really don't need the lines for the railing because we can paint those in. There's no need to be overly refined with our sketch here. And then now I've got the actual lighthouse part, and I'm going to do a rectangle with a little hat on the top. And I want to make sure that this box or this rectangle where the light is still thinner than the red and white stripe tower part, right? We don't want it to come out like a big giant lamp head thing, right? We want it to still feel like overall the lamp is continually getting thinner and thinner up until you get to the top. So I might bring that in just a little bit. And we want to sort of feel like it's one continuous tapering tower. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, as you kind of finish up your sketch and sort of evaluate to see if you need to adjust anything, remember that you can take a paintbrush, or you can take a paper towel and put a little bit of water on it, and you can clean up these lines. Right? You can clean up any of the lines that you want to make sure that you establish exactly where you want to put things. And then here's a trick as well that's very important, is we're going to flip over our canvas once you're feeling like you've got it pretty close, and we're going to evaluate whether our lighthouse is super leaning over somewhere, or if there's anything that we can do to adjust it to make it feel a little bit more symmetrical or a little bit straighter, more proportionate, whatever we need to do. But we want to make sure that this tower part is long and this lighthouse part is not super, super large compared to the rest of the tower. Of course, you don't need it to be microscopic either, but hopefully you've got one continuous tapering tower. So how are we feeling? How are we feeling? Oh, hey, yeah. I'm liking it. Now the hat on the tower does not need to reach out too far past our light box here. I don't know what the actual term is. I'm sure there are terms for all of these parts of the lighthouse, but I sure don't know them. Nice. Now, some people like to paint the lighthouse as more of a wide lighthouse. You may have seen some that are a little bit more like they're wider and shorter, right? Some are skinny and tall. So feel free to make that however you'd like. I see that Caitlin is doing one that's wider, and I really like that too. I think that looks really nice as well. So, my gosh, you guys. Cool. And then My suggestion with the balcony, this is for everyone, with the balcony you don't want to necessarily go too far past. Keep it relatively close. What did he say? What did he say?
This is for everyone, but mostly Brady.
Oh. Where you can come in a little bit where it doesn't have to extend out quite so far past. Yep. I'm thinking that's feeling really good. Just because it can feel a little distracting when you have like this big thing. You're like, oh, what is that? You know.
Brady, I'm not distracted.
You're like, can you adjust that, please? I'm feeling distracted by it. Oh, these look great, you guys. These look really great. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about it? Pretty good? What? Much what? Oh, much better than clouds? Oh, hey, this is great. This is awesome. I'm loving that.
It says pretty good. I think I'm killing it. Do you have cup up discount?
What? Was that you again?
No, that's Christina Saran.
Oh. Okay. Do I have Cup Bop discounts? No, but I know somebody who might, and that is the one wearing the Cup Bop shirt. So.
The wings are out today.
Wings? They have wings at Cup Bop now? Woo, man. That's awesome. Okay. So I think we're doing great with that. What we're going to do is paint this tower completely white first. You could do the stripes, you know, where you do one white, one red, whatever. But the red is going to be more vibrant if it's painted on a on a white background than if it were to be painted on a blue background. So we are going to just paint the whole thing white, and then we'll do the red stripes later. So I'm just going to paint the part under, of course, underneath the balcony. And I'm probably going to go down like this vertically, but then after I've sort of filled it in with paint, then I can go in afterwards, and check this out, you guys. Once you've filled it in with a few strokes vertically, just to fill it in quickly, then you can go over it like this with rather than straight lines, do a slight arch, just ever so slight. It does not need to be super like these panels here, but just a slight arch, and that will give it the illusion that it is cylindrical rather than just a rectangle, but that it wraps around, and it will also make it feel a little bit like we're looking up from the bottom. Oops, sorry, showing the camera. Sorry. Still can't see it? So we add a slight curve to these strokes, and it will look like we are looking up at it. Yeah, it's a little perspective trick. No, we're not deceiving. We are making believe. I don't know. We're not deceiving. So again, I'm just adding a slight curve to these strokes and trying to fill it in. Well, the tricky thing is I have shaky hands, but in actually doing quicker strokes, you know, once you can feel a little bit more confident with the strokes by just going for it, I know that seems scary and stuff, but sometimes that gets you the better results because it kind of bypasses the shakiness. And when you're too like slow and careful about it, that's actually when you get, you know, more shaky lines and stuff. So you'll also want to be careful, since we're dealing with chalk outlines and white paint. You could possibly be deceived as, you know, in terms of where your paint is actually applied as opposed to where they're just chalk lines that will wipe off. So you don't want to accidentally have a little chunk of Lighthouse missing when that chalk is wiped away. So just make sure that you're filling that in mindfully. Black. Well, I will show you in just a moment. If you're wanting to use it now, I'll just tell you that the blue and the brown will get you something that's close, very, very close to a jet black, like very dark. And if you mix them evenly, pretty evenly, you'll get it to be very black. Of course, we have black paint. I can just give you black. But it is good to know that you can use like a deep brown, like this raw umber color, and this phthalo blue, and you can get something that's pretty much black. Okay, so this kind of texture thing, or this brush stroke thing with the little curves, that is a very like nitpicky detail. It really does not need to be there. It could just be literally painted solid white, and you'd be good to go. But it's just a little thing that can enhance the picture a little bit. Now, if you do end up having sort of this highlight, or I'm sorry, not a highlight, but a shadow on one side because the paint is maybe not covering that, I'm getting this kind of natural shadow on this right side. You could totally keep that and let it work for you as you know, as it gives it depth. But I eventually am going to put a little bit of a shadow on the left side because I want the light to be coming from here. So I'm going to make sure that that's filled in there. And then when I'm ready to move on, I'll take a little bit of this baby blue paint. You might need to mix more, or you might have some sitting there on your palette. And I'm going to create a little shadow on the left side. Now, it's not going to be on the edge of the left side. Notice that in the image online, that in order to help it feel cylindrical, sometimes you'll have some lighting hitting the left and the right sides, and the shadow sort of in the center. So what I'm going to do is take some baby blue and create a gentle, subtle shadow on this left side. Not right. Okay, thank you. Okay, so you see how I've got a little bit of a shadow? Just with it's a very subtle with some light blue. Okay? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What were you saying, Christina? Did you have a question? Or? Yeah, you see how we're not going right up against the edge. This will still be in the light. Yeah, but then we'll have a little bit of a shadow. Now, if you feel weird about the texture of like the arch strokes and stuff, and you want it to feel more solid, you can totally just fill it in like very solid. Kind of like how you see on the image online. However you want to go about it is great. If your shadow is not very noticeable, you can go ahead and add a touch more blue, or by adding a tiny bit of brown, you can kind of gray it out so it almost feels like a more grayish blue. If you're feeling like it's too blue. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Caitlin, you asked for white. I totally forgot. Once you're done with that shadow on the left side, you can go ahead and just make sure that your brush is clean, and then you can add some pure white. And you can add this more thick onto the side. You can apply it more thickly so that it really shines. So that the paint is opaque, meaning it covers up what's underneath it. It'll show very brightly, like a bright white. But also, if you apply thick paint to the point where it's three-dimensional blobs, then the literal, real light in the room will will hit those little strokes, those three-dimensional strokes, and it will make the highlights pop even more.
Hey, Toad, when will be the comments in the chat?
Are there comments in the chat?
No.
Okay. Oh, just let me know as they come through, you know.
I think people like just busy with
Yeah, they might be in the zone. So you'll notice in the image online, the lighthouse is very smooth. In my painting here, I'm choosing to do something that's a little bit more textury, and either way is good, you know? Just kind of whatever you'd like to do. Now, since it is daytime in this painting, we do not need to do a whole beam of light and things like that. And so the light, this square up here, or this rectangle here, does not need a whole lot of detail, which is nice. But what I'm going to do is just take a bit of white with a small brush, small flat brush, and create a couple of kind of bits of reflection. And maybe one of these lines can be thicker, and then others can be thinner. Yeah. I just want to try to make it not too uniform where all of the lines are the same. So I'll make that one a little bit thicker, but essentially, hopefully the camera's picking that up. I'll come over here and show you. Just some vertical lines in the square where the light part of the lighthouse is. Right. Just in that square right here. Just some lines where I don't want them to look like bars or stripes, but essentially, yeah, just like a little bit of a reflection. Okay. This is looking really nice. This is looking great. You guys, these are looking really, really great. You're doing awesome. Love it. And then feel free to make some of these, like one of these reflection lines, a little bit thicker than another, you know, just like you've done there, just to have that variety to avoid too much of a pattern. Because otherwise it might look like those are white bars of some sort or something like that. Okay. Awesome. We are actually in great shape. We're going to let this dry, and we'll come back to it with the red. And we'll see. For now, we're going to start doing the foreground, and what we're going to do to well, you know what? Since we are going to be dealing with another color, let's take a little break, stretch our legs, and get a drink, you know, of water if you need, or whatever. We'll take just like 3 or 4 minutes. And let's change out our water, and everything. So if you guys wouldn't mind just heading to the bathrooms down here, just down the hall, we'll just dump out the water and get new water. Just please make sure that the sink stays clean and nice, and that you don't have crazy splashing going on. And we'll refill the cups of water with clean water and get going on the foreground. When you go to change out your water, would you mind washing this brush out for me, please?
I'm not really painting at all, actually. I'm just here.
You are too painting, and it's looking really good.
water changing station.
So it's just in the bathrooms that are down the hall, all the way to the other end of the building.
Also, where's David? He's all doing
I'm not sure.
like,
I'm not sure. But the idea was that we would try to make it work without,
okay, well, we called him like
the
6
tech.
times.
I know. Well, it's the first time. First time we're doing this with the tech solo. What was that?
Let me judge yours.
You're judging mine? Oh, let me step out of the light so you can judge it more.
See how the juxtaposition sucks?
You're wild.
Oh my God.
You're wild.
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
I hope that. Honestly, I still don't even know how to use that word. I really don't even know. Sorry. I do think so, yeah. Yeah, I do think so. We are at what, 8:30, 8:15?
Yes.
Okay.
Because we really like.
Yeah, you really got to get to your kids. What age are your kids?
So 9 and 14?
Yes.
You said 9 and 14?
9 and 14.
Awesome, awesome, awesome.
14-year-old is autistic, so she's
Oh, okay.
not responsible for
Uh-huh.
the 9-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
What are their names?
Catherine and Jane.
Catherine and Jane?
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
call her
wonderful.
Katya. She goes by
Katya. Oh,
Mhm.
cool. That's awesome. Wow, these are looking so great. Come on, how are you feeling?
I'm
Feeling okay?
yeah, I'm okay.
It's just, yeah, I'm
Perfectionistic,
so I
yeah.
don't really, like, it's okay.
Yeah, isn't it hard to kind of let go and just be like, okay,
Yeah, I just
it doesn't have
realized
to be
that, you know,
perfect.
all of these like little imperfections is just like little randomness. That's what makes it unique, you know.
Yeah.
It's just kind of just let go and have fun.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it is those little imperfections that they drive us crazy while we're looking at it up close, and often it gives it more interest and variety and everything from a distance. So,
Yeah.
well, I'm excited to get the foreground in, because then everything will make a little bit more sense, because right now it feels still a little bit empty, or it feels incomplete.
Kind of cool. I really love the color of the
Shading,
ocean
yeah.
and like
Yeah.
just like this wavy patterns. 'Cause
Yes.
there are waves. And
Yeah.
It's just like this little like yeah.
Yes, and isn't it cool that
Mm-hmm.
those are some of those imperfections that I'm talking about? Like, some people might feel the need to make it all one solid color, but you don't want that. It looks too flat.
Light just reflects of everything. It's like
Mhm.
it never looks exactly the same.
Yeah. Yeah, light is always bouncing
And
off of
it's not even
things.
like
And
a gradient or anything. It's not like you
Uh-huh.
can express like use mathematics to try to like approximate it, but it's not. It's I think it's like artists is really not thinking about it. It's just like you go
Mhm.
with it.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I think sometimes the effects that people try to achieve are often...
And to me, like all of this, like I'm totally random. This isn't what I do. I'm actually like really precise in everything. So this is like stepping out of my comfort zone.
That is wonderful. That is a challenge for sure. That is so interesting to hear you say that, because that is, someone said that at the last paint night, that they are very precise and used to doing things in just a very crisp way, where they take their time, they're very patient, you know what I mean? But she was getting a little frustrated, because she was like, it's just not turning out exactly how I want it to.
So nice.
And I was trying to tell her, you have to let loose a little bit. You have to loosen up. And once she did, it turned out very differently, and it was really nice.
So are we supposed to be painting this black now?
Well, I was going to go to the foreground before doing that. We could definitely do that black part though now. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Let's do that part. We'll go on to this what am I saying? The top of the, it's what? 8:15. Thank you.
Black and brown?
The brown and blue
Oh, brown. Well, that's fine.
to create the black. Yep. No worries. No worries.
I have black on my tray.
Yeah. So you could definitely use just pure.
I have a messy tray. Look at mine.
I am. To me, this is like way uncomfortable. I'm out of my comfort zone. But like I'm embracing it.
Yeah, that's great.
How do you mix them without making it a little
Well,
mess?
check it out. I mean, it's
Yeah, this is so tiny.
You guys are like very artistic.
Okay, so
I'll take it. I'm tidy at home, but I am
Well, check these, check out these hands. I mean, oof. And I just added a good old black mark to my canvas while I was showing you my hands. So that'll be a window or something,
Okay, now we're painting this.
So yes, now we are going to, with the smallest brush, we are going to mix a black with the brown and blue, and you'll get a pretty color pretty close to jet black. Usually I don't incorporate black into landscape painting, but we can totally do it now, or it can be kind of a dark charcoal color, whatever. But of course, since it's architecture, it can be black. Just often with landscapes, you won't see black in nature. You'll just see very dark versions of color, like dark green or something.
That's why we're not using like straight dark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just one thick brown.
Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint just a subtle thin stripe right underneath the balcony. You may or may not have drawn that in, I'm not sure. Just a little stripe there. Now, if you have a little bit of water mixed into this color, that's a good thing because it will help this paint come off the brush and give you a little bit more crisp lines. But if you put too much water, it will be drippy and watercolory, right? So it is. Oh, okay. It does take a little bit of trial and error to get the right consistency, but what I'm going to do for this balcony area is very, very light pressure, because as you put more pressure on the canvas, then the strokes become thick. So what I'm going to do is make sure that I have very little paint on the brush. I'm smoothing it out like this, back and forth on the plate to make sure that I'm getting rid of any excess paint. And the only paint that I have is just kind of hiding there in the bristles. And then I'm going to sort of stamp these railing, or just a little bit of a drag, just starting from the top and just dragging my way down to get some lines like that. I'm not sure if I'm close enough. Hopefully I'm picking up the right thing here. And hopefully you can see. I'm going to do a bar across. Make sure I have a bar on the bottom. Now the weird thing here is you'll have to remember that there is a tower behind these bars. So you're not going to just see sky, because otherwise that would make it like floating in the sky. So that's why if you look very closely at the painting online, you'll see that there is, it is a little bit darker. Now this is me being very not precise, but if you would like to be more precise and make them very crisp and clean, you can. But do you see how I have somewhat like a little bit of definition on these little bars, but overall I really don't have a ton, because it's wrapping around, and behind those bars is probably solid black. You know what I mean? You're not going to see sky behind there. But on either side, where it wraps around, you might have a little bit more sky showing. If you cover up with too much black or something, any part, remember you can take a little bit of like a pale blue and add it in there too if you end up covering it. Oh, I'll come and show you. So people like to be very super precise with these bars and like zoom in like with their nose like right up against the canvas, but really, check that out. You see how it's like,
Oh, just like a little bit
yeah,
blurred.
like where you can kind of see a little bit of definition of bars, but it's not like super crisp, especially because, well, and notice that like on either side where it extends past the lighthouse tower, you're seeing a little bit more blue, right? Because the sky's visible behind those.
That's right.
Yeah. Nice. That's awesome. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of like.
Oh, I like this. I'm liking this. Oops. Whoop. Oops. Just making a little bit of adjustments to the camera here. Hopefully that's a little better. Once you've done those bars, you can go ahead and do the top part. Oops, where did my phone go? Here we go. So what I'm going to do here is just above the railing, I'm going to do another line. This is just to give it a little bit more dimension. I'm going to do, let me see, let me paint the lines first, and then I'll show you kind of what I did with them. Probably went a little bit wider than I needed to on that box, but it's okay. So you'll see that there's a little bit of an additional stroke of black right above the railing before you get to the box. So I'm going to come around and just show you. Oh, I think it looks good. It really does. I think mine was quite big. It's quite big, but
This part too big, but that's okay.
oh, I think that's fine. I think in some lighthouses that I've seen, there are multiple balconies and things. So yeah, really safe, yeah. See, that adds to the tranquility of everything. You're like, oh, that lighthouse looks safe. And I think it looks really great. Now you see that there's just a little bit of space above the railing before you get to that box, and then you can, you know, do the box there.
Is this brown and blue color?
Now you don't necessarily have to even.
Mine way too big.
You made what too big? Oh, that.
The railing is kind of bug me, but that's
Let's see.
okay.
Well, what you could do is.
The light box.
What you could do is.
Paint over, but then it
No.
gets hard.
Well, one thing I was thinking of is the possibility, and this is up to you, the possibility of extending it out maybe like up here a little bit. So then it looks like the main balcony is there, and then this could be more of just like structural, like where it's not necessarily the whole thing is a balcony. It could be that.
Show me with chalk.
Yeah. I'll actually just show you with some black paint on the tablecloth.
Oh, I thought you were going to say on mine.
No. So we have.
The too big a box.
No, you're doing great. This is looking so good. So we've got that,
And this
and then we've got a little bit of space down here below it, and then we've got this.
Mine's not that big of a space.
I'm just gonna.
I just got carried away.
No,
with
you're
my big
fine. No,
box.
this is so good. And I'm gonna just kind of make a quick little copy, right? So you have
Yeah.
the space there, and what you could do is say, okay, well, my balcony is actually just going to be up here,
Oh, okay. Just make it a totally.
right? And then you have a little bit of space there, right?
Okay.
And then you have your balcony, and then down here could just be solid black if you want. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And then it'll make it be like totally meant to do that. What are you talking about?
Big black wall.
But don't feel like you have to extend out a ton, just ever so slightly. I feel like I exaggerated that a bit, but like,
You're
just like that.
afraid I'm gonna make too big a-
Well, I just know that sometimes the temptation is to be like, "Bah," you know, and then they've got their little lighthouse square here, you know, and then you've got a balcony that stretches out way far. I would do just maybe one little stroke on either side, you know what I mean, to extend it out just a little bit. Okay. Please let us know in the chat if you have any questions. Jake, will you let me know if there are any questions?
Yes.
Yes, you will do that? Or
say something? Yeah, I know.
oh my gosh. Okay. All right, so I'm feeling pretty good about this so far. Please let me know if any of you are like, oh my gosh, what is going on? What am I doing?
What is that big black wall?
Well, remember also that
I had the longest years,
most people. Well, I was just going to say, remember that most people are not going to be. There are two things here. Most people are not going to be comparing your lighthouse to anybody else's, and two, most people are not going to know the exact architecture and anatomy of a lighthouse. Plus, all lighthouses look different.
and we're not
You
showing
went
them
for
the
this
original
on the date
stuff.
with your wife and you have two identical pictures.
But in that case, you don't want them to look exactly the same, right? So, that is so funny. That is funny. You got a point there. You got a point there.
He really liked the big black square. That was his favorite.
Who's what?
Yeah, but out of the two right there, whose is your favorite?
Oh my gosh, you can't ask me questions like that. You know what he's famous for is his incredibly difficult questions or awkward questions. So he would go up to my dad and be like, so if you had to choose between mom and us, like, what would you do? We're like,
Yeah, just say
really?
child.
Really, Jake? You got to go there? Like, so which one though?
No.
Like, really? And my dad would just be like, I'm not answering that question. I'm not, you know.
I would say like we'll close the bridge.
Yeah, right? Yeah. What was that? Sophie's Choice. Oh my goodness. Oh. Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so hard. Oh, that's so hard. Or another one that's, you know, more lighthearted is when, you know, we went to a play. Jake, do you remember this? I know. So, Jake, when we went to a play at Hale Center Theater, and Javier was bringing his girl. Well, it wasn't. It was a first date. It was a first date. Okay, and he goes after the show. He goes, so when are you guys getting married? And they're like, well, this is our first date. It's like, well, but do you like each other? And like, it's like, and then he'd be like, but do you, you know, he goes to Javier, but do you think she's pretty? Like, do you like her? Do you think she's attractive? You know what I mean? Just like asking those questions. Oh my gosh. Is part of me, and they are married, yes. So thanks to Jake. Thanks to Jake, they are married. Yes.
Our daughter, like, we are at the birthday party of her classmate, and she's asking grandma, how old are you? She's like, oh, 82, honey. And she's like, no way, you look like 100.
Wonderful, wonderful. Exactly what you want to hear. It's so funny. Oh my gosh.
She like just last week she asked the girl like so she's pregnant like this really society so like and she's like, Katya, do you know like what I'm having? And she's like, yeah. She's like, it's a boy. And Katya, like I like girls are better.
Girls are better. Not impressed. That's so funny. I love that. Okay. All right, you guys. What we are going to do is we are going to, I keep wanting to go onto the foreground, but I'm like, now that our tower is dry, let's just do at least, the first part of our red.
Oh, the scary part.
Now,
More straight lines.
yeah. Except for the nice thing, maybe the hard thing, I don't know, is that they're going to be slightly curved. So rather than, totally straight lines, they're going to be a little bit curved. I'm going to see, not sure if we have the pencils here. Thought we did. Yeah, right here. So I'm just going to give each of you a pencil.
Are we still painting?
I mean, I don't know. Are we?
Who needs pencils? Let's do it.
Oh yeah, if you want to go for it with paint, you totally can. Thank you so much.
Hurry it up.
Yep. We're going to wrap things up.
Also, no one's commenting in the chat. I feel like, what's with having a chat? No one's gonna comment on it.
It's okay.
Other than Mr. Dave that can't hear at the beginning of the video.
Okay, will you pass around these pencils, please?
Sure.
Okay, some of these are not really very sharp, so hopefully, yeah, maybe it's a good thing. But basically what you'll want to do is think about how many stripes you want. You don't have to have the same amount as there are here on the image online. You can choose that number. What I would say is probably don't do more than what's there on the image, just because it will look very stripy and maybe a little bit much. But what I'm going to do is try to, even if it's just with like a little dot on the side, rather than trying to do multiple lines and then having to paint over any lines you don't like, maybe doing a little dot and seeing, can I get, can I kind of establish where each stripe might go? As you make your way down, this is just a tiny little detail. It's really not the end of the world if you don't do this, but to add a little bit to the perspective, if you slowly make the stripes thicker on your way down, then it will make it feel like this tower is taller and like that base is closer to us. So if you spread them out just a little bit more as you go down, or if you're doing it the opposite way, make them, closer together as you go up, the idea is that it will help with the perspective. Okay, so I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stripes in total with white and red together, but 4 white stripes, 3 red. So I feel like I've done too many dots probably. Did you? So I'm maybe going to bring this down here. And please, as you do these lines, rather than doing just straight across, add that little bit of a curve that you did with the white paint. Just a little bit of a curve, a little bit of an arch. Okay, if you did the arch the opposite way and did a smile kind of a thing, that would make it look like you are above, looking from. Yeah, would you mind passing a couple out to each table? I believe they're in this larger bucket right here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, if you spray your paint palette, the plate, with the spray bottle, it'll just help keep the paint colors alive a little longer, keep them from drying out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I technically have 8. So I ended up with 8, but it is very light pencil, so what I might do is just make each stripe a little thicker. I can adjust that because I don't feel like going through and redrawing them out right now. If you...
Is it solid red or did you mix it with something?
No, I'm just going to do pure red just as it came out of the bottle there. And I'm going to let the top stripe be white. You can make it red, I guess, you know, like I don't think it really matters.
Okay.
But I'm going to paint carefully with a little bit of that arch in each of my strokes here. Yes, I do teach in Spanish. I can teach paint nights in Spanish, but not in, just English and Spanish, not in any other languages. Did you say it sounds like Russian?
Portuguese sounds more like Russian.
Yes, you're right. Portuguese does sound more like Russian. I mean, they both have Latin roots, so some of the words will be somewhat similar, but...
I accidentally went over, like,
Okay.
the side, so I was like, ah.
What you can do is...
It's impossible to be straight with both
it is
colors.
tricky. It is tricky, yep. What you could do maybe is just take some white and extend your white to match the
Okay.
red. You know what I mean?
The smallest one.
Here's a good question. That's a good question. With the smaller one, you might get more refined strokes, but at the same time, you might be able to do one stroke across with the wider brush, and you press it down a little bit harder, and then you get a stripe that may allow you to get it done in one, depending on how thick they are. But if you were to take like one of these that are clean, I think it's a similar size to what you have. You have a 10 or an 8 maybe? Is it a 10? Yeah, this is a 10 as well. So you'll be able to see kind of how wide that stripe is. It's very close to that, you know, especially if you were to really loosen out the bristles with water. So anyway, something to think about. And then I would say, oh, actually, I really like how you've got the curve going downwards a little bit. That just makes it feel like you're up higher and looking straight on at it. If you have them curved up like an arch, then it looks like you're looking down. Yeah. What is going on over there?
Nothing.
Sad, I'm missing whatever it is. I'm making my stripes. My white stripes are thinner than my red stripes, so I might have to go in with some white after that. Do what? No, I do not want. I kind of wanted them to be basically the white and the red to be similar in size, but like as I go down, the stripes get a little bit thicker. But no, you're good. Oh no! You can definitely switch brushes if you'd like. Because we have some, you know, we have like some of these that they are new. Most of these are new, unless you get some from this big old pile that Jade gave you. Those are not so new, but about the wider brush. Yeah, sometimes it's actually easier to get more refined details with the larger brush. It's kind of strange, huh? Did you say what? She's like, maybe she put him in her bag. I know, right? Yep. So these are really not turning out perfectly for me, and I'm just having to be okay with it. So I just wanted to encourage you. Yep, same. I'm feeling the same way. Like I'm feeling like this should be simpler, you know, but it's not always simple, especially when you get them feeling a little lopsided, or the curve is just not quite right, or whatever. But you know, we're just going to do the best we can. And remember, we're not going for photorealism here. We are going for a painting. It should look like a painting. So, what was that? Like a 5-year-old painting. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Thank you. Okay. So, yep. Let's start on the ground. I feel like I could be working and reworking this for a long time. So we're just going to move on. You could do a rainbow if you want. Yes. That's what this painting needs. A unicorn. A Pegasus. All right. Yes, the ground. Thank you. Sometimes I get lost in the details, right? So. Well, mine's a candy cane too. I've got a lot of stripes going on, you know. And I feel like I don't have that tapering like I originally had in my sketch. You know what I mean? So I'd have to like go in and widen each thing out, because right now it just looks like a straight pole. But you know, it is what it is, and we're just gonna roll with it. All kinds of lighthouses. All right. Okay. Caleb, move on. Caleb, move on.
Are we doing windows then?
We'll do windows in a minute, but since this is still wet, we'll just kind of hang out for a second. Of course, I think I have just the windows on the white stripe, but we'll come back to it. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the larger brush of the two, smaller ones, not the big giant one necessarily. I guess that could help us fill in space. In fact, do you guys still have the large brushes by you? Maybe we'll do that. Okay, so we're going to take some... Yeah, the really big one, the big old one. Let's take some brown paint, the dark brown. We're going to set it aside. And we're going to grab some yellow and red. And we're going to plop that in there. Not very much red. The red is very strong. So do like double yellow and just a tiny, little blob of red. And then we're adding that to this raw umber color. It's a really dark brown. If you have different colors, if you have like a tan, then that's great. You can just use the tan. But now I'm...
Red, yellow, and brown?
Yeah, so it's going to be twice as much yellow at least than red. Okay. And then you're going to mix a chunk of the dark brown into that. So this is the color I'm getting. And
Are we doing the
color of my pants.
color on here first, or the darker color?
We're going to do the light color as the base. And so I'm going to now scoop up a good amount of white and lighten that color up. And this is going to, you're going to need quite a bit of this white, and it's going to give us a nice sandy color. like this.
Maybe more yellow.
So
Then I wonder, can I use this darker like on top if I already have it?
um,
Can we?
like you use it first.
Yeah. Or
Um,
should I put the like
you
yellowish one first?
You could, but
Like here.
what I would do is, if you've already got that, just use another one to mix the other color, right? And then you can
Okay.
keep that brown there, and then you don't have to rinse it out or clean it out. Okay, so once you've got that color, okay, does anybody need help with that color? You're gonna do a lot of white to get there, right? And you need to let it be a warm brown, a warm tan color, and that's why we use the yellow and the red to make it very warm, like an orangey almost.
Yellow.
Yeah, sure.
But it's not mustard.
That's okay.
Green.
I know that each person
Yeah.
also gave themselves a different amount of yellow, so some people might have plenty and some might need more. So,
What do you think about paint?
does anybody else need more yellow? Yes, this is the best.
Thank you. Thank
This is mixed media here. Mixed media. I love it.
Is that a pretzel?
you. Yeah.
I never thought I would hear that at a paint night. Is that a pretzel? Just got to say,
A little better about my big
we've got a
fat
pretzel. You know what it's looking like with the
Higher.
a little higher?
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. It's almost feeling like piratey, you know, like the skull and the swords and all that stuff. So or feeling like an anchor maybe, you know, kind of feeling like a ship anchor. So
Yes.
this is
I'm such a good
three-dimensional.
artist,
Yes,
it's 3D.
yeah. It just feels like you could reach out and touch it. Or eat it. Eat it. You could eat it. You know the painting's good if you really want to eat it. Okay, so I've got this tan color. How are you guys doing on that tan color? Yeah? Okay.
It's more greenish.
Oh, then did you
I used all the yellow.
use all the yellow? I'm wondering how you possibly got the green color. I think you mixed some blue in there.
Maybe.
Maybe some of that black got in there, which is more on the blue side.
Yep.
So,
Gosh. Okay.
no, you're good. You're good. That will be good for plants. So keep that. And then with this, I would say go ahead and mix. It's easier to mix a color with a smaller brush. And then,
Yes. I feel
yeah.
like-
So what I would do is clean that brush, and then you can use some of this brown. And I totally can get you more of any of these colors. What I would do is start off with the light colors first, with white, and then mix a bit of yellow, a little
Maybe
bit of red,
another, like-
and then touch of red, or a touch of brown. Okay, so anybody who is needing help, here's like a little swatch of the color I'm getting. And you don't have to match it exactly, but it's just kind of that general idea. On this here, it looks fairly like more yellow than it does on my phone. It might just be like your lighting settings and stuff. So feel free to make it anything like more, if it's more peachy, if it's more yellow, if it's anything like that, it's fine. As long as it's general sand color, you know, then that's great. Okay, once you've got that color, then we're just going to paint that in. In fact, we might need, it might turn a little bit green, so I'm wondering if we need to do a bit of white first. So here's what we're going to do is, before we go crazy with that color, let's actually do a little bit of a layer real quick of white. Now, I didn't really rinse my brush, so I still have some of that tan color mixed in, but I'm just going to grab some white and throw that in here very sloppily. And I'm going to remember to paint the side of my canvas to match what I'm doing on the front so that it's continuous like so. I mean, you don't have to do that, but. So I'm just doing a layer of white actually because I noticed that with this sand color it's going to start to feel a little bit green because it's mixing with the blue background. So I'm just adding a layer of like very pale tan just because that's what I got when I put the white on the brush. I need to get more white. It's really messy. It's supposed to be sandy, messy, kind of dirt. So I'm just doing some very messy strokes. And since this is a base coat, let's not do thick applications of this paint. Let's kind of spread out the blobs and get it to be sort of flat since it's a base. And then when we do our other sand color, then we can go a little bit more with a thick application if we want. Sure, whatever you did, just don't do that. Okay. I don't know, it's pretty innovative. Quite original. Thank you for letting us know that. Okay, so I'm doing this really light color. I'm actually really enjoying this very, very pale color. I might lean into that, but we'll see. You know, I also want there to be some depth and shadows and stuff like that. So if you like the more pale look, then you can totally just lean into that. I'm going to also paint the bottom of the canvas to match. Forgot to continue my ocean onto the side of my canvas. I'll have to do that later. Okay, so we're going to continue this color down on the bottom of the canvas. And in order to keep going with this painting and not have to wait for it to dry on the bottom, since we're going to be sticking it back on the easel, we don't want it to stick to the easel with the wet paint on the bottom, so we can just rest it on the top of the easel like so, and it'll rest about a ½ inch above the tray. So if you just rest it on the top, then you'll be able to let it dry. You just let this frame, this kind of wood frame, yeah, just rest on the top of that easel. Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. Oh, okay. And did you get the? Oh, did you get the red?
Oh, no.
Okay, definitely get the red and then the white. Yeah. So we'll get the red because basically what we're doing is adding orange.
Okay.
You know what I mean? By adding the red and the yellow, you're adding orange to the brown and then white.
Like green?
Oh yeah, add quite a bit more red.
Okay.
Quite a bit more red. So maybe you did exactly right. You didn't get the blue in there. Maybe it was just that the brown and the yellow together made it feel a little bit green. That's so strange. Yep, I would say definitely more red.
And it looks more yellowish here than it's here.
Yeah, I would say about that much at least.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then add quite a bit more of the white and a good amount of the brown.
Yeah,
I would say,
right now.
yeah, let me get more of that brown.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think this is clogged. Oops. Oh, you're starting to get it. You're starting to get it. You know, that red is actually making a big difference there, so you may need even a touch more. But before you go too crazy with more red, maybe try touch more brown and then white. Yeah. Yes. So then what you'll do is, now that you're getting kind of a warm brown, you'll add most of that white into that color. And yeah, you're welcome. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, with that darker sandy color that we made originally, we can start to get some cool stuff going on with shadows. I feel like that's a little bit harsh, a little bit too, maybe a little bit too warm. So I'll mix maybe a bit of brown in there. Okay. So I'm going to create a little bit of random texture here, and it might kind of wave up and down a little bit. Not wave up and down, I should say, because that makes us think water. But we don't necessarily need it to be just a flat line or anything. We want there to be some interesting texture here, and this could be kind of a rocky hill in order to give a more solid foundation to this lighthouse. Now the way I'm kind of painting it here is making it look a little bit more like the lighthouse is behind rather than sitting on top of this hill, but you can choose to do it, you know, the other way around, where the lighthouse is sitting right on top of that hill. So you choose what you want to do. I'm going to probably bring this sand up a little bit, cover up that base. And right here, it's really random. It's like just, you don't want necessarily stripes. Notice how like in the image online, you've got sort of this curve a little bit, yet it's very splotchy and messy. So you'll want to move the brush and kind of rotate it as you go and kind of dab it in all sorts of different strokes and directions and let it be just messy. Use a little bit of water mixed in so that you can, so that the paint will flow easily across the canvas. You can also play around with like blending it with a little bit of water on your finger where you make a mark and then you blend it or smudge it out. Then you'll get a variety of colors rather than just light tan and a darker tan. You can play around with variations of shades or
Pretty much the trick that you did with the clouds.
yeah, very much like the cloud technique, yep. And you want a good variety of textures. And I'm going to continue what I'm doing on the front onto this side of the canvas. Now, I don't want it to necessarily look like the lighthouse is on the very, very edge, because that can seem a little precarious. So I might extend out the land a little bit. Yes?
Won't you end Livestream at 9 o'clock?
No, that would be sad. Don't end the live stream right now. We did hit 9 o'clock, so we'll try to finish this up real fast. Basically, I've got that texture there, and then I'll just continue that onto the bottom of the canvas just a little bit with a few blobby kind of sketchy marks just so it doesn't stay a flat color. What we want to do is make sure that this sand doesn't look flat. Surprise! Okay.
Your lighthouse is glowing.
Yes.
All right. So now that we've got this sandy kind of look, now remember also that having that pale base it's very light is good. So if you feel like your sand is too dark, then feel free to add lighter highlights by adding white to your color. Okay. Ooh, that's nice. I like the blobby paint. Love it. Now this is a great time to embrace the blob and get the thick paint going. But Okay. So you see that, yeah, so now we have like this very light pale tan, then we've got the darker sand color. Now I'm going to mix a little bit of brown, not just straight dark brown, but I'm going to mix dark brown into my sand color. Just mix some dark brown into it to make it a bit darker. And then I'm going to choose where I want to have some kind of rocky texture. You know, this could be anywhere, but I kind of think of it being on like the Oregon coast maybe, where you've got some rocky beaches and stuff. It could be anywhere though. It could be Maine, it could be California or something. But essentially I'm just going to add some bits of dark brown that are going to hint at kind of this rocky texture. You could even add kind of this gray vibe to them if you want them to be kind of grayish rocks. And to do that, you would just mix the blue and brown together to get a black, and then add a bit of white to get gray. Okay. You just want to make sure that you avoid patterns and like stripes. So kind of fill things in or connect, you know, blobs and stuff so that you don't get stripes. And some of these rocks can be kind of on their own, others can be connected. Okay. Oops. Okay, now one quick thing that I think is fun to do, but not totally necessary, and I'll try to wrap things up because I know we got babysitters, is if you feel like you want some extra texture on the sand, just because it's really fun to do, I'll be quick about this. You take some water and you water down some brown paint. It could either be dark brown or just like a darker tan. And you do the same effect or the same technique that you would use to make stars. You just want to be careful about this. And you do a little flicky kind of stuff, or you can do a drop like this where you tap with another paintbrush. And you can actually make little dots of texture, right? But you need to make sure that the paint is watered down and that you don't tap really hard, because otherwise they'll spread everywhere. Are you able to see this? Thanks, Jake. They're not even coming off the brush right now, so I need to add more water. Okay. Well, hopefully you can kind of see it. Basically, if you tap like this and you've got enough water on the brush, then you'll get these little dots. Come on. I think there's too much dried up paint in this brush. Come on, you know you can do it. I know you can do it. There we go. But you would want to do this with the canvas laying down. And you just got to make sure that it's watered down quite a bit. Do a little tapping like this. Just be careful not to get it into the water or into the sky like I did.
So you kind of get it wet.
Yeah, you want to get it really wet, and then you can start doing the tappy stuff. Yep, just on the sand. You'll want to be careful because it's easy to get it in the sky and whatnot. If you do get it in the sky, then if you take a little water on the paper towel while it's still wet, you can rub it right off and it'll come off and not affect the background. Oh, I know. I'm so sorry. We were so close. Did you get some stuff going on in this? Oh, that's awesome. Oh, these are beautiful. So beautiful. Will you, just before you go, oops. Here's this, if you would like to sign your paintings, do a little signature, you know, and no, you're fine. You're totally fine. Here's white if you want to do seagulls. Oh yeah, show your paintings. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, perfect.
And then you can use any color you'd like to sign, the blues and whatnot. Okay. So we are going to, oh, let me help you with that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're going to wrap this painting up with the green grass and foliage. And I'm going to take some yellow and red, making kind of a little bit of an orange, and then adding blue to that. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to see you. Take care. Okay, so now for this green, you guys, I could totally just pass out, like you could totally pass out some of this green. I guess did everyone already get green? Oh, cool. Or you can mix it yourself however you want, because there are a variety of greens that you can get. But I'm mixing yellow and blue to get the green, and then mixing a bit of red to make it more earthy, and then maybe a little bit of white to brighten it up, just a tiny bit, not brighten it up, but make it a little bit more pale, I should say. Okay, so I'm getting a green for the foliage with blue, yellow, a touch of white, and a touch of red. So kind of all of the colors. But you may also have some green right there that you can use that green. But for anybody who is just using the primaries, that's a good way to get kind of an earthy green. I'm getting drips all over this palette. We don't have one tonight, sorry. We don't have a dump bucket tonight, but we will next time. Okay, so here I am going to do some little strokes of grass and whatnot. Now, this grass is not supposed to be like every blade of grass you see individually, right? This is supposed to be like groups of grass that you see. And the more water you put, as you put a little bit of water into the color, the paint will flow and you'll get a little bit more definition. But we don't need for every single stroke to show. And this is grass that's not like tiny, tiny blades of grass. These could be like longer, grass that you might see on the Oregon coast or something. Doesn't matter where this is.
And what about water? You said about...
The water just helps the paint flow, so if you... Yeah, so if you mix a little bit of water into that green color... Wow, okay. Siri's really wanting to give you answers, I guess. So, just trying to make it super random, and these grassy marks can go different ways, different directions. And try to keep them in clusters, but rather than just like very individual, like chunk, like try to get them to be a little bit mixed together in kind of groups and whatnot. If you use very light pressure, you can get different marks as well. And we're not going for, remember, we're not going for definition in each individual blade of grass necessarily, but treating it as if we're looking at this from a distance and just seeing groups of grass blades together in clumps or clusters or groups, just like you would with hair. When you look at a person from a few feet away, you're not going to see every strand of hair. You're going to see hair more in groups and sections.
Hey, good question.
Yes.
Hypothetically,
Ooh. Hypothetically,
And it's
If-
getting everywhere.
nice. Great. Use a lot of water, I guess, before it dries. Or let it dry and then pick it up as one plasticky kind of thing, and it should come right off. Yeah, but if you've already kind of smeared it around, then I would just grab some water and a few, new paper towels and.
Isn't that your job? Okay. Double the painting.
Now, up here by the lighthouse, you could totally make it look more like bushes or distant trees, if you want. I think I'm just going to go with kind of this grassy look. And just let these blades sort of do their thing. Okay. Now, if you are into flowers and want to add some flowers, a great way to do flowers is by, mixing whatever color you want and then using the back of the brush to add those flowers. I don't know if I'm going to do flowers. I'm kind of tempted to do some, like wildflowers, but we'll see. Now for these windows, I'm going to use the back of the brush, and I'm just going to use kind of this black color, brown and blue mixed, and I'm just dipping the back of the brush in the paint, and then doing these little marks. Just boop. You're good. Just with the black color, like the blue and the brown mixed, with the back of the brush, and then just doing these little like boop things to make it look like little windows. And I'm doing them just on the white. You could do them on each level or something, but I feel like that would make this tower look really huge, as if each one of them is a level, and so I'm kind of treating each white stripe as a new story of this building, or a new level. If your grass looks too flat looking or two-dimensional because it's just one solid color, you can definitely add a darker green over the top to give it some shadow, or you can give it kind of a lime green with way more yellow, and do some strokes over the top to give it kind of that variety of at least two different greens. I think that can make it look really good. So try to mix it up so that your greens aren't just like, it's not just one solid green, but maybe two different ones working together to give it a little bit more depth and dimension. But feel free to mix it however you want. You can make the grass lighter, give little highlights, or you can give shadows, or both. I think I'm going to do kind of a dark bluish green as a shadow in some of these areas. Now it's important to stand back. So at this point, you'll want to stand back and look at your painting from a distance to really see what you're working with. Really see. And you can kind of evaluate to see, see what you think it could use. I know we went pretty pale with the background compared to the image online. So if you're feeling like you want, a little bit more, more blue in the background.
What did you do? After all that work? Oh, that's kind of cool.
Ooh, I gotta see. Ooh, abstract.
I see my palette and smeared it everywhere.
Oh, okay. Well, to give you a little bit of context here, last paint night, he painted on a wrapped canvas. And when I say like a wrapped canvas, I don't mean the canvas was wrapped around the wood bars. It was wrapped in plastic. And he painted on the plastic. And I thought it was very funny. But then I was devastated because then he threw it away. I was so sad.
Picture.
I'm glad you have a
always take
picture.
picture
I'm glad you have a
before I throw it
picture.
away, except for this time, I forgot.
Yeah,
What,
I'm
Christina?
scooting this forward just a little so I don't knock over your
Oh.
camera.
Yeah, I don't take pictures. I don't.
That does look pretty cool, though, as an abstract
It looks
painting.
cool.
It does
I
look
just feel
cool.
bad because you spent so much time on
I know, on the
that other part.
the-
And
yeah. Yeah, I'll be right there.
Why don't you get this, Christina?
Ooh, like it. Okay,
She succeeds.
I'm digging the texture. I'm digging the dots and stuff. I think that's cool. How do you feel about those? Do you like them? Yeah?
get mine to do the dots.
I just did
It was
like,
tricky.
I just got it wet and I used my
Okay, okay. So she was doing the with her thumb where she was pulling it back. Oh, I love the shadow that you're adding to the grass. That's really great.
I think this just looks too
Oh, I
flat.
need the white
Like
paper.
too plain or something?
Or something doesn't make sense here.
The white.
Well, I
I
think
think
it.
I just shouldn't have added color, like dark hair, because it's supposed to be like a slide kind of thing. But
I don't know. I really like it. I think that it gives nice contrast because if you made it dark, then it would just be dark and dark. So it does have nice contrast. That water looks really cool. What you could do is maybe add a little bit of grass, like just like less than here, but just kind of have it be here and there, sort of like how you have it. You could also do like little stones or something like that if you wanted.
yeah,
And then just be careful here because you've got rows of like kind of perfect,
I gotcha.
almost like it was planted there,
It's about a dime you want and paint it.
Oh,
And, at least
sure.
for digital.
Oh, you didn't have it plugged in?
No.
Oh, it's about to die? Or
It's about that. I was just saying if you want to go end.
Oh, okay.
for the digital people.
Okay. All right. So that is our painting. If there are anything, if there's anything you want to adjust, now's the time to kind of make some adjustments. I'll walk you through birds real fast if we have time. Hopefully it's still going. Yes. One last thing that I just wanted to suggest. For me, I'm feeling like the sky is just very, the clouds are subtle, which is nice, but it is feeling very pale. I just wondered if it could use a little bit of an adjustment with the blue. So I'll just show you a technique for glazing. So I'm just going to take some blue. You do not have to do this. I'm literally just showing you as some extra little thing that you can do. This is just taking some dark blue, watering it down quite a bit, taking a paper towel, like a damp paper towel, and dipping that into the dark blue. Now I don't want to go crazy with this. Hope it's not going to be too much. But if you glaze over it just a little bit, and then take some water and smudge it, you could make kind of a transition from light to dark. And you can do it after the fact. Of course, you can do this before, like when you're first doing the sky, and get that. But if in the end you're like, I would like there to be a variation of color with the sky, then you can kind of do it this way with glazing. And then just giant birds, yes. And this is just trying to get the corners to feel a little bit more like a vignette, and for there to be a little bit of a darker sky up above. Yes, I'll be drawing birds. So that's something that you can do if you would like to get a little bit more darkness, but you don't want to repaint everything. You can just, add a little bit of this glaze. Just watered down paint with paper towel. And now all of a sudden you've got like richer blues stuff. So something to think about. If you like it, go for it. If you don't, no worries. Okay, and then birds. If you have a white paint pen, that's awesome. If you don't, you can do this with small brushes, or you can use a gel pen even. A white gel pen or a white or toothpaste, you know, whatever you got.
You should do like a painting with all household items.
That would be fun.
Yeah. So they get on here.
I have seen somebody paint with like frosting, and
Yeah.
I've seen people paint with stuff like that, you know, that's fun. Okay, so yes, I'm just getting distracted with random details on my lighthouse, which I need to stop doing. Okay, so the birds, here's a bird that we had from before, but he kind of faded, so I'll just redo that. Oh, that wing looks very long, but that's fine. So basically, I want to make sure that each bird is at a different angle than the other one, you know, than the one next to it, and different size, because they're all kind of flying at a different, on a different plane, a little bit farther away, or some are going to be closer, you know. So I have these two here. Typically birds will fly together in groups, but you know, sometimes you'll have them doing their own thing. But I think I'll at least I won't make any of them on their own. Maybe you have like 1, 2, 3 there, but I could give it a buddy. And one could be more of like an M shape, like this. And then we could have another one that's like a V. Just so you have a variety, right? Because they're all flapping their wings at a different rate. And you're right, maybe they're in sync. So I've got 3 here, 2 there. You could have 1 in between. You could really put these wherever you want. You know, you can go crazy with a ton of them, or you can just go with a few of them. But I think that's pretty good. And so now we're going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you to everyone here in person, and thank you so much to everyone online. You all are wonderful. Please remember, Christina, I'm going to do a little spiel. No, you're fine. I was just going to say, I'm going to do a little spiel real fast. Remember, it's my little TED Talk, okay? Remember that you absolutely can paint. You can create. In fact, I feel, personally, that we are inherently creative. It's just something that's a part of us as humans. And so it's just a matter of unlocking that and sort of discovering your creativity. Now, you may enjoy painting. You may feel like painting's your thing. Maybe it's not. Or, you know, you may have your creativity show up in a lot of other ways. But just know that even if you don't consider yourself a painter, that you can do this. And all you need is sometimes a little bit of guidance, you know, a little bit of step-by-step guidance and the courage to try. But you absolutely can do this. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Have a great night. And we'll hopefully see you again soon.